The easiest way to run Jenkins on your computer is using Docker. You have several options to run Jenkins on your laptop, but using Docker gives you a lot of benefits. Not only is it the easiest way, but it also gives you a platform, or it gives you Jenkins that is very similar or the same as what you would use in the industry. So I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you should use that. 1, you are going to be using Jenkins on Linux if you're going to do it with Docker. And in the real world, when you are working at a job, the likelihood of using Linux is really high. Most likely, you are going to be using Jenkins on Linux. That's reason number 1, benefit number 1. I think that's a very important benefit. 2, you're going to be able to follow any tutorial. So when people create tutorials for Jenkins, including me, including my full course, it is going to be in some kind of Linux environment. In my course, I do Docker, so it is Linux. But most of the tutorials you're going to see are going to be on Linux environments. So you're going to have a Linux version of Jenkins, basically Jenkins running on Linux. Even if you are on Windows, when you are Windows and you run Jenkins in Docker, you are getting Jenkins on a Linux. So you'll be able to follow any kind of instructions. And the third benefit is basically the Docker's benefit. You keep things isolated. You can just play around and do whatever you want to do with Jenkins without affecting your computer very much, right? So 3 reasons, but one of them being the fact that you're getting real experience of what you would get in the real world is one of the best experiences. So let's take a look at how we're going to do it. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to see how to install Jenkins just following the instructions that is provided with the image, and it's going to install like a vanilla basic Jenkins. If you are working on automation, if you are planning to run Python and Selenium and things like that, I will create another video where we create a custom Jenkins image that has the stuff we need to be able to run automation. So I'll put that in the description. I'm going to create it right after this video. All right. So this will get you a really good start. You understand how to run it. And then on the next one, we're going to see how to customize the actual image so we can build our own Jenkins that has the stuff that we actually need for automation. All right. So let's start by looking at the official documentation. If we go to Jenkins install, like you Google that in their installation page, that even Docker shows up first. The second easiest, in my opinion, would be like a WAR file, WAR, because very straightforward to set up. But still, if you are on Windows and you run a WAR file, or if you do a direct install, you're going to use Jenkins in a Windows way. Basically, the commands you're going to run inside of a Jenkins job are going to be Windows commands, unless you do some nodes and agents, like do something complicated. But at this point, that's probably not what you are interested in. But using Docker, everybody gets the same exact Jenkins. So here they have instructions on how to do it, but this is complicated. They are assuming you want to basically run Docker inside of Docker, and these instructions are not just for a basic Jenkins controller on your laptop. This is more advanced stuff. If you, like, for example, if you have Jenkins jobs that are going to do Docker stuff, the job itself is building Docker images, things like that, you're going to need something like that. But this video is not about that. This video is just to install basic Jenkins and start to play with it. Whether you are learning Jenkins or you just want to experiment or you do want to schedule some real jobs at the basic level. So that's what I want to focus on this video. You're going to install Jenkins in a simple way, play with it, and then I will create another video, of course, for this more complicated Docker in Docker setup. All right, and I'll explain every little thing that's happening. So this instructions here is not very friendly for beginners. Let's look at the actual Jenkins image. So we're going to search, we're going to go to Docker Hub, search for Jenkins, and we're going to go to the official one, right? You see this badge here, that's how you know it's an official image. We're going to go to Jenkins, and here we have a couple of tags, and we have the actual instructions. So we can simply just take this instruction right here and run it. It should work. But this one is not using volumes, and in Docker, if you don't use volumes, you're going to lose all your data. Let's say you set up Jenkins, you create some jobs, and you delete the container. All your jobs, everything you've done is gone. So you want to use a volume. So we're going to create a local folder that we can use as volumes. And we're going to create a notes file so we can just makes it easy for us to run this commands over and over again. And if you are on a Mac with the M chip, right? M1, M2, M3, if you are on that kind of Mac, this information does not give us one flag that we got to pass. Let me see if they have it. Platform. I don't think they have it at all. So I will show you what we need to do to be able to run this if you are on a Mac with an M1 chip or M1, M2, M3. If you are on a Mac with Intel chip, you can just run this command. If you are on Windows, you can run this command, all right? So we're going to look at it. It's pretty straightforward. So the first thing I'm going to do is I need a folder for this project on my laptop because I need a volume. Everything that happens inside of Jenkins, I need it to be saved on my laptop. So I'm going to start by creating a folder. So I'm going to go to the location that I want. I have this demos folder. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to say Jenkins Docker 1. You can name it anything you want. And here, this is going to be like the folder for my entire project. Now I need to create the folder that I want to use for the volume. So I'm going to do another folder, volume Jenkins Docker 1. All right, that's going to be the volume. Now a side tip, not related to this, for beginners. When you are naming folders and files, right? In this world, when you're learning how to code, please avoid using a space in the name of the folders. We have a habit of adding space in the name of the folder. For example, look at this folder here. I have my project. Terrible idea, right? My space project. That's a terrible idea. Whenever, every time I'm working with this folder in the terminal, I have to put it inside of the quotes, or I have to put escape character. I just can't use this folder name as it comes. But if you put underscore or dashes, then later on when you're using it, when you're trying to access it in the terminal for some reason, or even an application accessing it, you don't have to deal with it. You don't have to consider the fact that there is a space, okay? So that's just a side note. I see a lot of my students making that mistake and getting headaches. So avoid a bunch of headaches by not putting a space in the name. All right, that's just a little side note, a little side tip. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to VS Code. I'm going to open that folder. I'm going to say open folder, and it's going to be under demos and Jenkins Docker 1, and I'm just going to open that. Okay, here I'm going to just create a notes file, new file, notes.txt. For now, later on, we're going to create a bash file. So we're going to go to the instructions, and we're going to copy this guy, and we're going to put it here. Now, I want to break it up so it's easier to see on the screen. I'm going to go to the new line. I'm going to go to a new line, and I'm going to go to a new line. So for a Mac, in fact, let me show you the error before I fix it. I think that's better. So I'm going to right click here. I'm going to copy paths, and I'm going to replace this folder with my path, right? This is the volume that I want to use. Everything that happens in Jenkins, all the files I create, all the jobs I create, all the configurations, I want them to be saved on my local machine in this path. So later on, if I kill the container, I don't lose anything. Then it will just run. So this is the command they gave us. Let's run it. This 5,000, 50,000, you don't have to expose that. That's like for agents and things. But let's just keep it for now. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go to my terminal. I'm just going to paste it. I have Docker running already. I'm going to hit enter and see what issues we're going to run into. It says unable to find the Jenkins latest. Okay. So I've seen this issue. It's kind of weird, but I know if I do Jenkins /Jenkins, we're going to give it the account. And also we're going to give it a tag. Instead of doing latest, you always want to do a specific version. 263. Let's do that. Okay. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to say 2.60.3, and we're going to copy that and we're going to paste it. Let's see. All right, now it is pulling it. It's not even actually complaining about the fact that I'm on a Mac or I'm on an M chip. Usually it would say unsupported platform, things like that. And you would have to pass one more flag for platform. Just in case you get that, maybe we'll get that when we run. Actually, the image might be supporting both, and when we actually run a container, we will get that. While that's going, another option you should have is this -d option. So it will run as a daemon. It will run in the background. So when you run Jenkins, if you don't have this -d, it will run attached to the terminal. Then later on, if you kill the terminal, you kill the application. So you want to run it detached. Okay. And another tip we'll do it actually is, instead of creating a txt file, you can create a .sh file for if you're on a Mac, or .bat file, and you can just run this so you don't have to remember it. I'll show you. I want to finish the main part and I'll show you. All right, Jenkins is running. This is the password. I did not put the -d, so it is running in my terminal right here. There's some kind of errors actually, but it should work just fine. It's running, and we can't see it here because the terminal is being used. So I'm going to open a new tab, and if I'm going to do docker ps, we see our container running. Okay, it's too long for the screen, but it is accessible at this address 0008080. So let's go to the browser. Go here, and voila, Jenkins is running. The password and stuff, then you would have to know how to do it. First of all, in the terminal, in the logs itself, it should print out the password right here. So I can use that password. It also tells you where to find the password in var Jenkins home secrets initial admin password. Let me show you how to get that. So we already know var Jenkins home, we mount it as a volume, right? In our machine, Jenkins var home is this volume here. So we can go to this volume, we can go to secrets, and we can say initial admin password. That is the password. This is the file. You get this, you open it and continue. That's it. Pretty much we have Jenkins running. After this, you just have to go through the main flow. I'm a little concerned because there's errors, but if you get errors in your on yours like this also, please put it in the comments so I can create another video investigating that. That's pretty much it. We can kill this container if we want to. We can do docker stop that container, and we're gonna remove it. Docker remove that container. Now what I wanted to do is, I want to give you a quick shortcut. Instead of writing this and having to remember it all the time, we can just create a new file, and I can say run jenkins.sh, and I put it here. Now, and I have the -d here, right? Now all I have to do is I need to go to this location. I'm going to say, let's see, how do I copy this guy? I need to just copy path. Or you can just open the terminal here too, right? I can just open the terminal right here if you're familiar with VS Code. And let me stick with this, cd here. And all I got to do is run that script. If I do ls, there is this run jenkins.sh, bash run jenkins.sh. And now we see this complaint here, Linux AMD64. It runs, but we got this warning. So if we do docker ps, we see our container running. If we go back to the terminal, to the browser, and go to the same, reload it, it's going to be a brand new password, so we're going to have to put the password in. But if you want to avoid this warning that we got, where is the warning? We got this warning here. All we got to do is in our command, let me go back here. In our command, we're going to add another option, -- platform Linux AMD64. The error kind of tells us what we need to do right here. Okay, if we pass that, we're not going to get that warning. So now let's kill this container again. Docker stop the ID, docker remove the ID, clear ls. Now we will do bash run jenkins.sh oh, I have a typo, right? I'm missing the p, the important one, and I'm just going to repeat that. No warning, docker is running, docker ps, and we can see our container running. And for Windows users, if you want to create a little script like this for a shortcut, so you don't have to run this command every time, you're going to create a file, new file, run jenkins.bat, jenkins.bat. Assuming you're going to use the cmd, right? If you're using command prompt, it's .bat. If you're using like PowerShell, then you're going to do ps1. Then you're going to put the command there. It's .bat here. I'm on a Mac, so you know even the syntax is not the color highlighting is not happening. And this part inside the container would remain the same, but this, of course, you're going to update it to your paths, the paths you have. The slashes are going to be like the other way, right? You're on Windows. I'm just going to leave it as is right now. So make sure you use the correct paths, and in everything else you don't have to change. You don't need this. You're not going to need this part here, the platform. But then, yeah, the only thing you got to change is this bat. Then in the terminal, all you got to do is run jenkins.bat and hit enter, and it will just execute it. It will run the container. So that is the easiest way to run Jenkins. You might have to try it a couple of times. You might have to add the D if you forget the first time. If you're on a Mac with an M1 chip or a silicon chip, M1, M2, M3, you're going to have to add this. But the most important one, guys, is you got to add the volume. You really have to do that. Alright, so this is how you run Jenkins. Let me know what kind of issues you run into. I'm very curious, so I can create another video with an updated one. Put in the comments, even a simple thank you or this sucks. That's okay too, right? So that's also feedback. So let me know. If you want to get more into Jenkins, I have a complete course on my website. I also have a complete course for Docker. I have a membership that is free to start. Like the first month is free, so you can even just sign up for free and learn both Jenkins and Dockers in the first month and cancel it. That's really what you want. But What I do is teach QA automation, hands-on training. I have boot camps. I have personal one-on-one coaching that I'm about to launch. So check it out. All the links are going to be in the description. If you have any questions, I'm always available to be reached. So I'll see you in the next video. Let me know how this goes.